Hello and welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Yes, I am.
We are happy to be with you this Friday evening. And Lori, you're going to be doing the heavy lifting on tonight's show. I'm just saying.
Okay, good to know.
But I'm here. I'm here
Got
with
my
you.
power suit on. This is my favorite color.
Right.
Anybody who knows me knows that I love me some periwinkle blue, so my favorite.
I would call that periwinkle, actually, yeah.
Okay, so the first topic that we're going to talk about today is some wins for religious freedom. Now, religious freedom, well, religion in all aspects has been actually under fire more and more and more recently, but it's nice to see some actual wins for a change for religious freedom. And the first case that we were talking about comes from an article in the Federalist. Now, the article talks about the possibilities of some actual wins in various places. There are three of them in this article in particular. And what happened was the Department of Human Services and Human Services Office of Civil Rights, or the OCR, announced that it had secured access for religious clergy in New York's Mount Sinai Health System, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. The resolution followed a religious discrimination complaint. It was from a Jewish organization that claimed that the hospital prohibited spiritual leaders' access to patients. So that was the first ruling. The second case involved, it involved Joe Biden's pro-abortion HHS nominee, Xavier Becerra. You may have heard of this guy before. And if so, HHS announced that it would refuse California $200 million of federal Medicaid funding for forcing insurance companies and employers, including an order of nuns, to pay for abortion without exclusion or limitation, which is unconscionable to make anybody pay for abortions when they are morally opposed to it.
Yep.
It's horrible. So
that was a big one.
That was a big one too. And then the third one was with the University of Vermont Medical Center, where a nurse was forced to help perform an abortion against the nurse's conscience-based objections. What a horrible situation for her to be in that situation. But because UVMMC had not changed its policies to prevent any future coercion, the case was referred to the Department of Justice. And they will sue that center, that medical center in Vermont, for HHS for enforcement.
So she was suing because she was being coerced
Do
it?
Yep.
Did she do it?
She was forced to help perform an abortion against her objections. Which is a really weird situation.
I'm not sure about that
I'm
one.
not either. I don't know
Because you'd say, well, I'm not going to do it. Go ahead and fire me, and then I'll sue you.
Right.
But
so
anyway, it's still good.
it is good. So those are the main stories, and I know how many times we hear about various religious institutions, especially with COVID right now. Churches are being shuttered. I mean, they are being closed.
There's one Colorado church. Okay, so we know about the Catholic Diocese in Brooklyn.
Right.
With Cuomo.
Right.
And the Supreme Court ruled. And that was, some of it is important because of just on its face what it is saying you're discriminating against a church based on the congregation when you allow more people for other activities.
Exactly.
And so Cuomo said, you don't need to take this up because I already pulled back. And the Supreme Court actually said, you know what, we're going to still take it up because these people have put in their time and money to get it to this level. Now you pull back. If we say no, you could just bring it back again, and then they have to start over. So kudos to the Supreme Court. They said, no, we're still going to take it up. And yes, you're wrong. We find favor with the plaintiffs.
Interestingly to me, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Well,
it follows, though, Colorado
Right.
had a very similar lawsuit. And what happened is that Colorado pulled back on its mandates when the decision came down with the Supreme Court for New York. So in the Colorado court, instead of saying, well, we don't have to look at it, what they said is, you know what, we're not going to just say we don't need to address it because you pulled back. We're going to put it back down to the district court and have them change their ruling, which in effect then doubles down on supporting the idea that it is discriminatory to not allow church congregations to gather when you're allowing other people.
There are many people who believe that churches are essential.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. They're essential, and especially in a time of COVID where people are despairing and they're looking for hope and they're looking for something to which to boost their mental state. I mean, it's so depressing sometimes, and it seems very, very cruel to me that churches would not be able to be open.
And church or no church, the problem is that it's not equal treatment under the law.
Correct.
And so you can't say that, well, gosh, because I'm Governor so-and-so and that church isn't important to me, so therefore no one else can gather in a church. But, Walmart's important to me, so people can gather in a Walmart. That
disparity.
Exactly, that disparity, that uneven application of the law is the big thing. And in this particular case, it was the churches that were being restricted unfairly. So I'm really glad that it came out this way.
With these cases too, I was very happy to see particularly that the nuns were protected. I mean, the Little Sisters were always being singled out, and they were terribly wronged. And to me, the fact that the courts are finally seemingly going the other way is a huge bellwether for what's happening in the future. I'm hoping.
Right. I think that may very well be Trump's biggest legacy. And of course, we knew that going in with Trump from the beginning, and we knew that I think it was probably one of the biggest trains of thought when he was running against Clinton is what will happen to the Supreme Court. And so he was true to what he said. And like so many things that Trump said, I took it with a grain of salt, and it turns out that he held true to what he said, and thankfully so.
Yeah, I concur absolutely on that too. So we shall see if this is a trend or if it is not a trend, but I was very, very excited. California losing $200 million in Medicaid funds for for forcing insurance. That was a biggie too, and it turned out that it was talking about $200 million of federal Medicaid funding for forcing insurance companies and employers, including Order of Nuns, to pay for abortion. And they said that was going to be $200 million per each quarter that California did not comply. That was an incentive. That was a little bit of a monetary incentive.
A big stick,
yeah. So I love that. I think it's a really big deal. And I look at these lawsuits as deterrents for future onerous use of whatever law it is against religious institutions or those people who of conscience do not want to have anything with abortion. And if they don't want to do abortion, and that nurse is really, that's an interesting story. I would love to delve deeper into that and find out exactly what she did in the situation. What do you do?
Right.
I mean,
it's a tough one. So it would be good to know the rest of the story and what took place and in what manner was she coerced? Was it threat of job security?
Right.
Probably.
Right.
So yeah, these set the precedent. And with COVID, whatever's going on with COVID, whatever the curves are going to be, and they seem to be going up in some states, who knows what additional restrictions are going to be put in place. So as these things come down through the courts, that kind of is the line in the sand to the governors, those governors that exceed their authority in putting these types of mandates in place, these restrictions in place. Like, don't do it. It's just going to go to the court. You're going to lose again.
Yep.
You're going to be the fool again.
And at what point do churches completely open up? I mean, I just keep waiting for things to finally open up, and it's just not happening. I mean, it seems like we're on a downslide. So does that mean that, what's the fear? How long do you hold the line on these churches, and how long do you drag it out until church members can't be together?
And the church and each congregation or each pastor or priest or what have you is going to have to make a determination based on what he thinks his congregation wants. If it happens to be a congregation that leans to being more elderly, perhaps opening up isn't going to change anything because they don't feel comfortable. It's going to have to be, and that's the whole point of all of this. It should be left up to the individual, to the organization, in this case to the congregation,
100%.
And keep government out of it. Keep these heavy-handed governors out of it.
I agree. Well, religious freedom wins, and we will keep an eye on that and see if there are any more that are coming down the pike that are also in favor of religious freedom. I hope that that's the case, but we'll find out soon.
Yes.
So on our next segment, we are going to bring in here a guest, and nice name tag you got there too, not gonna lie. He's got a really cool name tag. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back with our guest.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef in all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. As you can see, we have a guest with us, somebody that Lori and I are extremely happy to have.
We're fond of him.
Reed Christensen.
Yay.
And Reed and I have gone back quite a ways, at least in my legislative career. You were the page in the 2013 session, right?
2015.
15 session. Yeah. And, oh, that's right, because that's when I moved to the side. So I was sitting at the very end of one of the rows, and so Reed was a page. Explain what a page is.
Well, you run papers around, you kind of do the go for work for session, and I had long hair at this point, so it's down to my shoulder blades, I think.
It was very distracting. Very distracting.
You clean up nice. You clean up nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were right next to me. We ended up chatting quite a bit, and I think I gave you Bastiat's The Law.
Yep, read that.
Yep.
Read everything I could get my hands on, I guess. I was in college at that point, so I was able to do, my classwork, read what I needed to, and then do online after that. But great experience.
Yeah, it was. You were a good page, too.
So those who do not know, Reed has had a very prolific career as a young Republican. And the name tag that Rick is wearing today, I already had one of those, just saying. So he got his tonight. But we honestly love the Young Republicans, both probably Rick and I. You were there last year for the convention, as was I. I was invited, which is funny because neither of us are young. We are Republican, but neither of us are young Republicans, but we were both invited to the Young Republicans convention. And I went so excited to go, and it was wonderful. And then I went this year. You didn't get to go this year, but it was fantastic this year as always. So the Young Republicans are a very prolific group here in North Dakota. And the Young Republicans were led by you well, tell me a little bit about your history with them.
Oh boy, well, where do you start? Well, I guess tying in with what Rick said, I was on his campaign when he ran for governor, and
2016.
yeah, 2016, ran around the state doing all sorts of events. Well, I came back for session, and that time I was the calendar clerk, so I worked the front desk, got to run, kind of the calendar there. Was able to learn even more there than as a page. So then 2017 rolls around, and we hear this organization, the Young Republicans, is being started. And so Jared and Caleb, both of which, Jared was on your campaign, and then Caleb Melhoff, who helped out, said, "Hey, Reed, let's run for some stuff in this new organization." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll help assemble the team." So we started making calls and getting friends together. I had really no idea what to expect or what we were getting in the middle of. But yeah, we showed up at the state party headquarters with about 90 young people that just tons of energy. I got elected chairman, and that's a bit of a story how I got there. So yeah,
That's incredible.
Basically, I got
90
elected.
people. I mean, it may not sound like a lot to viewers, but
That's a lot of people.
if you've been involved in politics, you're trying to organize something. To have 90 people at all is a feat.
Let alone
to have 90 new, eager, excited, hardworking young individuals.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
It really
It's
is.
ridiculous.
Well,
So then I want you to talk about some of your accomplishments, because I know what they are, and I know it's not as easy for you to brag about them. So I'm just going to feed you some. All right.
Okay, all right.
So first of all, you got involved in the election of Kevin Kramer.
yeah, that was an amazing experience, just front to back. Kind of the whole story of how Kevin got involved, because originally he didn't want to run for Senate, so he was going to run for Congress
Right.
again, and so Jared was his campaign manager, and then through shuffling, I was like just basically helping coordinate volunteers for Kevin. Remember at the convention, he
Yep.
had all those people behind him.
Yep.
So just being kind of in the background, helping with a lot of that. That was my introduction.
But you took a group of kids. I'm sorry, I'm just going to call y'all
Well,
kids.
yeah.
But when you were in Grand Forks, you went and you got so busy in that community, which was not necessarily the most conservative area. I mean, it's kind of purpley in Grand Forks sometimes, but you managed to completely flip that whole.
Well, it was a lot to do with Michael Kelch, who
I know him well also.
Yeah, so he was the machine up there, and it's
Another young
unbelievable.
Republican.
Another young Republican, but it's unbelievable what we're able to accomplish. I mean, thousands of voter contacts, tens of thousands of voter contacts, and we led the nation in 2018 in a volunteer-led voter contacts. 60% of the voter contacts we made for Kevin Kramer were volunteer-led.
That's phenomenal.
It is. It was fantastic. And it flipped a Senate seat in the U.S. Senate, and that huge ramifications for our state, but also for the nation. So really, really important work.
Some of my favorite pictures are you and me side by side. I got my American flag sunglasses on, and we're
walking
smiling.
in the parade,
Yeah,
right?
The Mandan 4th of July
Yep.
parade. That was just, what a blast.
Exactly. So you mobilize these guys and gals of young Republicans, and you get them to say, now, fast forward to this year in 2020, you did a whole nother fantastic thing. And I know this because I have a letter from the National Committee woman from Minnesota to me talking about how grateful she was for the help of the North Dakota Young Republican in Minnesota. So you didn't just do North Dakota this time.
No.
You went somewhere where you were really needed in Minnesota and made a humongous difference. Now, the background is that Colin Peterson had this House seat in Minnesota in
Forever.
CD7 forever, like decades. And you all went down there. I got to join you only once, but I'm telling you, it was a great experience door knocking in Minnesota.
Well, we had some great contacts down there. Megan Plotz, Kelvin Benson, JP Peterson, all these guys that were there on the ground already, who we just kind of was like, okay, point us in the right direction. And so we would go out, we'd take our walk books, and we'd hit, hundreds of thousands of doors. And,
Hundreds of thousands of doors.
Well, hundreds and thousands, not hundreds of thousands.
Well, it's true, though. And explain what a walkbook is, because people may not even know what you're even talking about. I know what a walkbook is, but people may not know.
So yeah, you get your smartphone, which everyone young has a smartphone. They can usually maneuver an app pretty well, and so you go in there, you hit a house, you go to that address, you put in, take a survey of the person if they answer the door. If they don't answer the door, you leave a flyer. That's kind of the nuts and that's as ground level as
So
you can.
slick, though, technologically, to be able to know exactly where to go, exactly the right houses, and then be able to log that so that people can have a record of where you've gone.
Yes.
And it's so
Huge,
efficient.
Huge.
So you took people from Young Republicans from North Dakota weekend after weekend. What, 5 weekends did you?
Yeah, about that. Yep.
And look at what happened. Michelle Fischbach got elected. Amazingly against Colin Peterson, the perennial. So that was a huge, huge coup.
Yeah.
Fun to be a
Fantastic
part
work.
of it.
Fantastic work, Reed.
Fun to be a part
It's
of
just one thing after another after another. I don't know. You should go over to the Middle East and solve the issues there. Perhaps Kim Jong-un. I don't know.
And we're going to, I don't know if we're going to have enough time in this segment. We may have to carry you over here too, but I understand that you also were awarded something too. So we'll have to talk about that in just a second when we come back on that one too. But talk just a little bit really quick, maybe 30 seconds, about going to Wyoming.
So yeah, we have these quarterly meetings with the Young Republican National Federation, and so Wyoming was where our last quarterly meeting was, and we'd go, I stayed with the Minnesota delegation, and we'd go on these adventures in the morning, and have, we'd climb up in the mountains, and it was snowing, and all this sort of fun
When
stuff.
we come back, we're gonna find out what happened in Wyoming with his award. We'll be right back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We are still here with Reed Christensen, the amazing, incomparable Mr. Christensen. How are you, sir?
We're fans, not gonna lie.
What can I say?
Reed,
Well,
I have an email here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, someone's asking if you're single.
No comment.
No comment. Okay.
That'd be a yes. Okay, so we were talking about your convention that happened in Wyoming.
Yeah. So quarterly meetings. So I was, we got back from our adventure. We were up in the mountains. We had, a few issues with the vehicle. Anyway, we got back down. We were a little late, so I had my stocking hat on. I just walked in like, usually, like I'm usually dressed, with a jacket and, hoodie and everything. So anyway.
Right.
Well, Rick starts naming off these people. So Rick Lockery.
Rick meaning Lockery.
Lockery. Okay. He's the national chairman of the Young Republicans, and so he started, called the meeting to order just as I was getting there, and it starts calling people to the front that he was recognizing for certain things, and talking about how they worked hard at this, planned this event, knocked so many doors, whatever, and I'm just sitting there. Well, then my name gets called.
What? Wait, what?
And I'm like, look around, and I'm like, well, I guess that's me. So I get up there. And yeah, I got recognized and added to the chairman's distinguished order, which I got this little pin. I didn't wear it tonight, but I got a pin.
We've got a picture of it so that you can see how fancy it is. That is super cool. That is a very elite group, is it not?
Well, there's not many of it, so it was an honor. I was really honored to be there.
And why did they give that to you?
Well,
do you think?
Above and beyond with Michelle Fischbach in Western Minnesota and stepping up, yes, for 3 years. So.
Well, we're grateful for all that the Young Republicans have done. Now, if you are, say, a parent of a 20-something, and Young Republicans have a specific age group too. You want to explain the difference between college Republicans and Young Republicans?
So it's 18 to 40 years old. That's our age, dues-paying membership. We help charter high school Republicans. We can get younger kids involved with that. And then, obviously if people want to come and help and donate or knock doors, volunteer, whatever.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, ndyr.org.
ndyr.org. And also you have a very prolific Facebook page with lots of information on there. We had you guys stream that when we did that rally for Trump, which was really, really fun. And I know it's been viewed like 19,200 times. It's like amazing amount of people. Okay, so people who would like to get involved with the Young Republicans, what's your suggestion to them?
Well, first of all, I'm former chair, so get in touch with Daryl.
That's right, Daryl Mindeman.
He's the new chairman, and he will do a fantastic job. He's been essential to the organization since the beginning. And he's a numbers guy. He's a details guy. He's really, I'd go to him and I'd be like, okay, Daryl, I want to do this. How can we get it done? And he'd make it happen. So, Daryl's going to do fantastic as chairman, and which leads me kind of to the next thing. So. I pretty much knew I wasn't going to run a year ago for re-election. And so I do stuff in the background. I do stuff without a lot of recognition. That's why I haven't stopped smiling since walking in here. This is just...
it's fun.
It's beyond what I was expecting, right? So I knew it was probably time for someone else to step up, and I can kind of, ride off into the sunset. Well, before I could ride off into the sunset, I did get an appointment.
You did?
Yeah, and so... the Young Republican National Federation, they have these different committees. And so, because of my work on my brother's campaign, because of this work with Michelle Fischbach, running stuff, being involved, Rick's campaign, all this stuff, Kevin's campaign, I've been, appointed as National Campaign Chairman of the committee for the Young Republican National Federation.
Wow.
Nice.
So, that's a national post. Congratulations.
Yep. So,
is this the first time you are announcing this?
Yes, this is the first public announcement of that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yep.
That, is it going to mean some travel?
I'm guessing so, yeah. Organizing and kind of doing what I did in North Dakota, help if people wanted to run, telling them, here, do this, set this up, get this, in place, and so doing that at a national level, I think it's an amazing opportunity.
It's funny how that timing was too.
I know. Well, I didn't plan on that. It's not like I was, I'm going to something bigger. It just God has His way of
you're going to do
steps.
great at it. No, there's no doubt about it. You will excel.
No question.
It sounds like it's made for you. Yeah, I have every confidence.
Thank you.
You're going to do fantastic.
You got some cheerleaders here in the room.
Oh, I
so.
know it. Oh, you guys are great. So, well, as you can tell, I'm wearing your favorite color.
I know, I know. And I'm so excited about I have the name tag too, and not going to lie, that was like the best thing ever. We had some fantastic speakers. Talk a little bit about some of your speakers at your convention that just was out.
Okay. Well, actually, our keynote and our first speaker was the same first guest you had on. So Kelly Schmidt.
Right.
Aha.
She was our keynote for our last convention,
right.
and you know, she's the outgoing state treasurer. I happen to have been really close with her son. Before I knew, like when I was a page in the house, I was going to Bismarck State College, and Evan and I would talk football, and so like it just so happened that his mom was, you know, the state treasurer.
Happened to be Kelly Schmidt.
Right, yeah. And
Very
so
cool.
having her as a speaker, Kevin Kramer was a speaker. We had our national chairman, Rick Lockery, there, and so he spoke. I mean, you were there, obviously. You
It
spoke.
was great.
Yeah.
It was just great fun, and I was honored to even be invited. I just love that so much, too. And you've had other speakers come in, too. Can you
Yeah,
talk
well,
about some-
Rick was our keynote last year, so that was, I've just been so impressed by the people that have stepped up and gotten involved and helped, you know, push this organization along. It's really been amazing to see, you know, Josh Gallion was our keynote, our first keynote, you know, the first year, so it was just on down the line, all this stuff that's been happening. It's really, wow, how do you even put words to it, you know?
Right.
Well, and you're at the center of it. I mean, that says something, right? It's not just that you're walking through it. This stuff, you're in the center of it, which I think tells people probably a lot, and hopefully you recognize that.
Yeah.
Well, and now you've got an organization that's growing, and you're building as you go along too. So you can recruit easier. Using the television show should help. And if people wanted to get in touch with Young Republicans, or say they have a kid who's of age to be a Young Republican, and they want to say, hey, listen, if you're interested in getting involved, these kids can do amazing things and really truly make a difference. What was your suggestion for that?
So sign up on our website, ndyr.org.
Okay.
Get in touch with Daryl. His number should be out there. If my number's still out there, then contact that, and I'll get you in touch with Daryl. So,
Okay.
like,
His
it
name
won't
is
be a problem.
Daryl Mindeman, who's
Yep.
the new. Talk about some of the other officers that you have in.
Well, I mean, yeah, Caleb stepped up as treasurer, so that's big. We've got, you know, just the cast. So Rory Thompson coming in for secretary is very detail oriented, and with our regions, you know, Damian Johnston, Gwendolyn Rapoon in the Northeast, and then Brian Nordmark, who's been our policy director. Now Brian, he had some big shoes to fill with Raheem.
Right.
You know, Raheem moved out east, and so Brian's done a fantastic job filling those, you know, big shoes.
So you've got regions too. So
Yep.
this is not just one big North Dakota group.
Right.
You've got different individual regions
Yep.
that you can get together
Correct.
with too as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's an organization that just kind of took legs and did its own thing, and honestly, I was honored to be a part of it.
What I like the best about the Young Republicans is they're not just talkers. They're not just meeting people. These people are doers. They're like, you know what? Let's go. Let's get in the car. Let's drive. Let's go. Let's knock on some doors and use some energy. Let's make a difference. And I think I applaud you for motivating people to do that, because it's had big dividends.
The one thing I mentioned in my outgoing speech, we made 46 of the 47 district conventions, like where we had young Republican representation. And that's in the state party. You know, that says something. When the young people are like, yeah, this matters. This matters to get involved. And so I was blown away by that.
That is fantastic. Well,
That's the
Reed,
future.
thank you so much for all
Thank
that
you.
you have done. Best wishes on your new gig. That is exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be
Very, very
watching
happy for you.
to see you on a national scale now
Oh,
at this
whatever,
point.
yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for coming in and
Thank
talking
you.
to
It's
us
an honor.
today.
Hey, you guys are doing great. Keep it up. Keep it
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to be back in a couple minutes with some brain food, one of our favorites. Stick with us. We'll see you in a couple.
Howdy folks, it's the Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell 'em about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. It is time for
Brain food.
brain food, nutrition for your brain. Some people call it trivia. We call it brain food.
We call it brain food. All right, to start off tonight, I just had a question. I was thinking to myself, okay, what has to do with Christmas? What can I tell? Oh, and I looked at my Christmas tree and I was looking at the lights and I thought, I wonder who invented Christmas lights. And it really is really simple. It's not that hard. Thomas Edison and Edward H. Johnson were the first two. Now, Thomas Edison, of course, invented the light bulb, but then he actually also strung them together in strings of lights, come to find out, and started those electric strands of light in 1880 or 1882. I think it was Albert Sadaka who saw a future in selling Christmas lights. There's a difference between making them and then monetizing it and selling it. So this Albert Sadaka saw the future in Christmas lights, and the Sadaka family owned a novelty lighting company in 1917, and Albert was a teenager at the time, and he suggested that the store offer some brightly colored lights and put them on sale to the public. And so they started doing that, and by the 1920s, Albert and his brothers organized what they called the National Outfit Manufacturers Association, or NOMA, a trade association. And NOMA soon became known as NOMA Electric Company, with its members cornering the Christmas light market. They completely cornered the market until the 1960s. So for 40 years, this group totally sold the Christmas lights until it went to other folks. But I thought that was an interesting thing. As a teen, he decided.
NOMA Christmas lights.
NOMA Christmas lights.
That's what I say when my wife wants me to put
NOMA
Christmas lights.
Right. So that is the story of who invented Christmas lights and who monetized them.
All right. Well, I have something that might be just a little bit more intellectual than Christmas lights. Okay, so one of my favorite people, he's probably one of my favorite people because no one seems to know about him, but he's also one of my favorite because he is so fun to read.
Okay.
And I found out about him when I was reading a book called The Conservative Mind by Russell Kirk. It was written about 1942, something like that. But anyway, long story short, this guy's name was just sort of in passing in one little sentence, and I was intrigued by why he was mentioned. And this person is Henry St. John, Lord Viscount Bolingbroke.
Bolingbroke.
Yes, there he is.
Wow, in all his glory.
glory.
In
Yes,
his
indeed.
resplendent glory.
That's a good vocabulary
You're
word.
welcome.
So I'm more fond of the pictures of him without a wig, but he was a character. So you know I like characters.
Well, I can pretty much see that by his photo right
Yes.
here.
So he was born in 1678, died in 1751. He was a very early conservative political theorist.
Really?
Yes, he was more on the Tory side versus the Whigs. And he was an advisor to kings and so forth. But then he got a little disgruntled. He went over to France, and he went with the great pretender of the Stuart family, opposed the king. So he was kind of ostracized, and he came back. Anyway, he wrote several little things in the 1730s and 40s. One of them is called On the Idea of a Patriot King. So in essence, what he wrote was this lengthy letter to his king on the best way to rule. And he carried into that, it's so interesting because it's kind of like what we think of as small government, limited government, big freedom, strong on liberty, but he puts that into a monarchy on how the king should rule. Fascinating read. The other one is Letters on the Spirit of Patriotism. Again, fascinating because you can take some of the stuff that he was writing about in the 1730s and apply it today. Fascinating read. If anyone wants to nerd out on early writing on conservatism, limited government, Bolingbroke, B-R-O-K-E, Bolingbroke.
So Henry St. John, 1st Viscount, B-O-L-I-N-G, Bolingbroke, B-R-O-K-E, Bolingbroke.
That is he.
Very cool. Very interesting stuff. Thank you for that.
I love him.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to pivot a little bit here next with a vocabulary word. We like to do this occasionally, you and I both, and so I picked a vocabulary word today, and my vocabulary word is misbegotten. Now, misbegotten means badly conceived, made, or carried out. It is not very hard to figure it out from just the components in the word there too, but misbegotten is made of the prefix mis, or wrongly, or incorrectly, or like mistake, from the Germanic prefix misa. And then as Gothic, misideth, and transgress. Anyway, so then also then, beget is the compound prefix be, or Germanic prefix meaning about, around, on all sides, or be. And then, of course, you've heard of begotten. So it's in the English in the first half of the 16th century in the sense it was illegitimate child, misbegotten. But in this case, it's an adjective that means ill-conceived or badly planned out.
Interesting.
Not well
So let me
planned.
try and use your vocabulary word in a sentence.
Okay. Uh-oh, I'm now officially worried.
So I would say that we have been adversely affected by Governor Burgum's misbegotten executive orders regarding COVID.
Perfectly stated.
Okay.
Ill-conceived.
My last one is also a vocabulary word, and it is pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous. And I bring this word up. It's one of my favorites. Believe it or not, Henry St. John, Lord Viscount Bolingbroke, uses it several times in the two writings that I mentioned. Love it. Makes me giggle because it's a word that I liked even before him. It means showing a lack of courage or determination or being excessively timid.
Timid.
And I think that it can be used very, very frequently in the world of politics, both on a national level as well as in our own state of North Dakota. Pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous. And I love that because I'm a big fan of the word courage. Just this year, it seems like people lack courage. And I didn't really notice that too much until COVID occurred, and I realized, oh, wait a minute, it takes courage to walk into the grocery store without my mask. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to use courage. So, but it seems to me that the whole masking thing, and I know we bring this up all the time, but the fact of the matter is it makes people timid. It muzzles them. It makes them nervous when they're walking around with, it's an amazing thing. I've seen the constant fear in people's eyes, and that really is troublesome to me because I feel like in America, we are all about courage. We're all about courage. We wouldn't be America if we weren't for courage. So the fact that courage is being squashed is really troublesome to me.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So yeah, pusillanimous, courage, antonyms probably.
And misbegotten, ill-conceived. You can remember that for future use. You can use that.
I'm going to use that in my next rant.
Right?
About my recurring topic. Believe me, folks, I look forward to not being a raving lunatic about Burgum's executive orders, but I mean, we're living with them every day, so we'll eventually get past it. Believe me, I'm more than a one-trick pony. I've got maybe 2 tricks.
Clever, lots of tricks, I'm sure. So, okay.
All right, so that's brain food. I still feel a little bit hungry in my brain, so maybe next time we're gonna have to bring on our game even stronger.
I think so too. Oh, maybe even larger words.
6 syllables.
Gauntlet thrown. Okay.
All right, so that was brain food, and we are going to be coming back next with another interesting topic.
I don't know, leaving. Sometimes you just have to take your ball and go home. We'll find out about that next.
Teaser.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best-built, best-backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, our last segment.
Well, I kind of alluded to it in the tease there,
You did.
but I was talking about people just grabbing their ball and going home. People just throw up their hands now and they just decide, okay, I'm out. I know I've been there myself. But what we're talking about this segment is called secession. And it's not succession. I've seen people inadvertently call it succeeding or succession, but it is secession, S-E-S-S-E.
As in seceding from the
union. Right.
So we're talking about this concept where a state or group of states breaks away from the United States proper, becomes its own nation.
Now, what brought this on? Well, frustration with elections, other things previously, other years. I mean, it's been going on for a while that different states have talked about it too. I've heard of California, for instance, for a number of years has been talking about that. And now there's different, it's a very large state, and there's a lot of different people in the state. And so there's areas of California that are thinking one way and other areas that are ready to like, bye-bye. So.
Yeah, it's an idea that's been around a long time, probably since the Civil War.
Probably. That's a good point.
And, I think if I were to take a little bit of a deeper dive on this topic, I think that a lot of it, maybe all of it, stems from the fact that the federal government centrally has gotten too much power, has taken too much power, and has assumed power over the states, which were previously considered sovereign.
Right.
But now we've got Washington running everything. All of the regulations are for all of the states. The education is being uniform. I mean, everything is being uniform. Everything is coming down from above. And so what we have then is decisions made at that central level affecting everyone equally, instead of what it was supposed to be with 50 different states, right? Laboratories of democracy, where if you're a red state, something that was happening federally that might be more blue, you didn't care so much about because it didn't affect you like it does now. And conversely, the same is true.
Is there a way to put the genie back in the bottle, though? Can the states reassert their sovereignty without seceding? I mean, that would be optimal, would it not, in the United States, I would think, just being able to get your power back without having the central government, in charge of it.
I think that's the key. I think secession is a bad idea, but I understand, and I don't think it's has nothing to do, in my mind, with Trump. Where 4 years ago the progressives, the liberals were talking about secession, and now maybe some of the conservatives are talking about it. Has nothing to do with that. It is all about power from above and not being happy with it such that you want to break free. Right. When in fact, if we followed the Constitution, you wouldn't need to feel that you needed to break free because you would already be sort of self-contained with minimal involvement centrally. So I agree with you 100%. The idea is not to secede. The idea is to regain control on a state level. Consider the 10th Amendment as important as the First, the Second, the Fourth, and so on.
Exactly.
And what we need is for strong governors to come into play, to take control and say, this is how we're doing things. You need, at the same time, a president who respects the 10th Amendment and sort of gives up some of that power, the stranglehold, especially in the various agencies when you think about how they use the purse strings to control everything. Everything that the Department of Transportation wants. It's implemented throughout the United States because of holding a little bit of the money. You either do what we want or you don't get the money. That's how they do everything.
That's very, very true too. So I know that in Texas, a state representative from the Hill Country in Central Texas wants to give Texas the option to opt out of the United States, and they are given that option. They could do that. This Kyle Biederman from Fredericksburg told his supporters on Facebook that he plans to file a bill allowing for a referendum on secession. Texas can do that. They could totally take their ball and go home. And I hate to see that. You don't want to see the United States broken up like that. United kind of implies you're all in one group. However, I understand it because people get just simply so frustrated.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Have you heard of Daxit?
I have not.
Haven't you?
Is this the Dakotas exiting? I guess I have heard that, I guess.
Yeah. Daxit has been around for a few years. It came up, right after, and there was the Calexit, as you mentioned, with California.
Yep,
there's a few of those, but I'm not sure. I think it'd be more likely we would become Buffalo Commons, which was proposed in the 90s, I think.
Right.
Then we would become Daxit.
Although we have a lot of opportunities in North Dakota. I mean, we have a pretty self-contained. We've got lots of, natural resources. We've got lots of military. We have a lot going for us.
We could do it all.
And if we combined with South Dakota.
Yeah, it would be better to combine with Montana, Idaho, and Washington so we'd have a seaport.
That's true. Good point. That's true. You need a seaport. You can't be landlocked. That
Or
would be troublesome.
instead of that, forget that. We don't want Washington. Okay, I take it back.
We don't want Washington.
We want South Dakota, Nebraska, whatever.
Let's go
Kansas.
down to Texas and take the whole center of the country, and
Oklahoma,
then we could
Texas.
Hey, we could split the country that way. That'd be great.
I like it.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sorry. Anyway, I don't have much more on this except that it is a possibility, and Colonel Alan West, I heard about this. Law-abiding states need to form a new union, and I got to meet Alan West when I was in North Carolina at the Charlotte Convention, and he's a really impressive person. He actually gave me a hard time about how cold it is in North Dakota, and I kind of called it, I didn't call him a wuss, but I kind of basically said, dude.
You called Adam West?
I kind of did. I kind of did, because, well, he was complaining about how cold it is here. I said, why don't you come visit North Dakota, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West? And he's like, it is too cold there. So I have to work on that a little harder. I just explained to him that we just go from warm to warm, just like y'all do in Texas, going from cool to cool. It's the same concept. It's not that hard. Anyway.
Yeah, so I think that, we should have a topic come up sometime about the red and blue in the United States and why there's so much animosity, the source of this interest in secession, really even bigger than that, the source of our lack of ability to have civil discourse.
True.
Because we can't say, well, you do your thing and we'll do mine, because unfortunately we're all just jammed together because, again, of the excess power of the federal government.
100%. When we come back, we will, I know, when we come back with our next show, I know, when we come back with our next show, we will have a guest to kick off Christmas week. So please come back and join us then.
And next on Beck is No Filter with Debbie.